Dear friends, human history is absolutely filled with mysteries and secrets. When we peek into the windows of the past, we find accounts of nations and individuals whose size, strength, and lifespans are enough to boggle the mind of modern man. We know that God created powerful civilizations like Ad and Thamud, but in ancient books and storytelling circles, one specific name comes up over and over again. The world knows him as Oj, son of Anak. This is a name associated with tales of a colossal giant, a lifespan of thousands of years, and a terrifying confrontation with the prophet Moses. In today's video, we are going to tell you, who was Oj? Did his head really brush against the clouds? Did he actually witness the great flood of Noah, and did the water really fail to reach his knees? Does Islam actually mention this giant living for 3,000 years, or are these just tall tales? Today, we will present the complete history of Oj, his war with Moses, and the authentic Islamic research on this topic. Please watch the video until the very end, because the truth is not what you have been hearing up until now. Friends, the story of Oj has been circulating for centuries in history books, marginal notes of commentaries, and on the tongues of common people. According to ancient traditions, Oj is considered the tallest and strongest human in history. Historians differ on his lineage, but popular traditions suggest his mother was named Anak, and it is alleged that she was a daughter of Adam. The stories claim Oj was born out of an illegitimate act, making him the first human born of adultery. When he was born, his size and growth were unlike any normal human from day one. He didn't grow by the day, but by the hour. Before long, he became so massive that his head began to reach the clouds. Mind-bending details are shared about his appearance that leave people in deep thought. Some traditions claim his height was 33 yards. To give you an idea, a yard is about 3 feet, so this height would be measured in miles. Storytellers say his hands were so long that he could sit on the shore, reach into the depths of the ocean, and pull out a whale. He didn't even need fire to cook it. He would simply lift his hand into the atmosphere, close to the heat of the sun, roast the fish, and eat it. When he walked, the earth shook under his weight, and when he spoke, his voice sounded like thunder. Regarding his age, it is said he lived a long life of 3,600 years. This means he was born in the time of Adam and lived until the time of Moses. During this period, he saw the eras of several prophets, yet he remained rebellious, an unbeliever, and a tyrant. His rebellion was so extreme that he would torment people, block their paths, and destroy entire settlements. The most famous and bizarre story about Oj relates to Noah's flood. We all know that when the punishment came upon the people of Noah, the entire world was submerged in water. Even the mountain peaks were underwater. However, legend has it that Oj did not drown in this terrifying storm. According to folklore, when Noah was building the ark, Oj came and mocked him. Other versions say he brought wood for the ark and asked for a seat in return, but since he did not believe, he was denied a place. When the flood came and washed everything away, it is said that despite the water levels being so high, the water didn't even reach Oj's knees. To him, the deep ocean of Noah's flood was merely a small stream. These are the stories that have been told and retold in our society for centuries, that he watched the storm pass and continued to spread terror on earth for thousands of years. The most critical turning point in his life and the time of his end came during the era of Moses. This was when Moses had liberated the Israelites from Pharaoh's slavery and brought them to the Sinai desert. Traditions state that when Moses and his army headed toward the land of the Jabberites, they encountered Oj. When the Israelites saw this giant, they were terrified beyond measure. When Oj saw Moses and his army approaching, he thought, "Why should I waste my time fighting these tiny people? Why not finish them all with a single blow?" Thinking this, Oj moved toward a mountain. Using all his strength, he uprooted a massive mountain from its base. His plan was to lift this mountain over his head and throw it onto the entire Israelite army, crushing them all to death. He lifted the mountain and raised it above his head. He was just about to throw it when divine power intervened. God sent a bird. Some traditions call it a hoopoe, while others mention a different bird. This bird had a beak of iron, or God gave it special strength. The bird began pecking at the very center of the mountain that was resting on Oj's head. In moments, the bird pecked a large hole right through the mountain. Suddenly, that massive mountain slipped down onto Oj's shoulders and his head passed through the hole. Now, the mountain was stuck around his neck like a giant stone collar. Oj was helpless. He couldn't remove the mountain, nor could he move his neck. He lost his balance and began to stumble. This was unseen help from God for Moses. At that moment, Moses stepped forward. Narrators of this story write that Moses himself was 10 yards tall, and the staff in his hand was also 10 yards long. Moses jumped into the air to strike Oji. According to traditions, he jumped 10 yards high. Now do the math. 10 yards of height, a 10-yard staff, and a 10-yard jump. That totals 30 yards. Yet Oj was so tall that despite this height, Moses' staff only struck Oj's ankle. However, since this was a strike from a prophet of God, it carried divine power. The moment the staff hit, the mountain-like man came crashing down to the earth. The sound of his fall was so terrifying it was heard for miles. It is said his corpse was so large that when it fell, it blocked a major part of the Nile River. The Israelites would climb over his body to cross the river as if it were a bridge. Wild beasts and birds fed on his flesh for years, yet it seemed endless. One of his rib bones was so huge that they would stand it up, and the army could pass underneath it like an archway. These are the terrifying and amazing details narrated about the death of Oj. On the surface, this story seems very thrilling and captivates the listener. But now, it is time to step away from emotions and enter the world of facts to see what the authentic scholars and researchers of Islam say about this. Viewers, research demands that we do not believe every rumor we hear. When we investigated this event in authentic Islamic books, specifically Al-Bidayah wa Nihaya by Imam Ibn Kathir and other commentaries, a very different reality emerged. I want to tell you with full responsibility that all these stories about Oj that you just heard are considered Israeliyat, unverified Judeo-Christian traditions, and fabrications by the majority of scholars and hadith experts. These are stories that entered Muslim traditions from Jewish and Christian texts and, unfortunately, became famous among the general public. The great historian and scholar of Islam, Imam Ibn Kathir, has strongly refuted these traditions. He writes in his book that the story of Oj surviving Noah's flood contradicts clear verses of the Quran. In the Quran, in Surah Hud, God mentions Noah's son and says, "There is no protector today from the decree of Allah, except for whom He gives mercy." The Quran clearly states that every disbeliever living on the face of the earth drowned, except for those in the ark. If Oj was so tall that the flood only reached his knees and he survived, this would be a denial of the Quranic verse, which is impossible. Therefore, Imam Ibn Kathir states that Oj surviving the flood is impossible, both religiously and logically. If he were alive, Noah would have prayed for his destruction too, because he prayed, "O Lord, do not leave a single disbeliever on the earth." Furthermore, logically, these claims cannot be accepted. For a human to be tall enough to reach the clouds, for his biological systems to function, and for him to survive Earth's gravity is against scientific and physical laws. Imam Ibn Kathir further writes that the claim about Moses being 10 yards tall and jumping 10 yards is not proven by any authentic hadith. Authentic hadith state that Adam was 60 cubits tall, and human height has been decreasing ever since. It is not possible for a human measuring 3,000 yards to be born among Adam's descendants long after him. Imam Dahabi and other hadith scholars have also labeled these traditions about Oj as fabricated. Scholars say that perhaps a man named Oj lived in ancient times who was physically very strong and tall among his people, just like the people of Ad were very large in stature. It is possible he fought Moses and was killed, but the exaggerations, that he fried fish using the sun or lifted a mountain on his head, are all myths that have no place in Islam. Therefore, as conscious Muslims, we should view such stories only as tall tales and not make them part of our belief system. The miracles of the prophets mentioned in the Quran and authentic hadith are sufficient for our faith. We do not need to add strange and bizarre stories to our religion that clash with the teachings of the Quran. The purpose of making this video was to tell you the famous story of this character, but also to inform you of the reality, so that if someone mentions this to you tomorrow, you will know what is truth and what is fiction. May God grant us the correct understanding of religion and protect our faith from all kinds of superstitions. If you liked this informative and research-based video, please share it with your friends so this important information reaches others. Don't forget to share your opinion in the comment section and subscribe to our channel to receive more authentic videos like this. Take great care of yourself. God bless you.